The council chamber stretched high above the gathered representatives, its crystalline walls catching light from the distant stars. 47 species had sent their best diplomats to this place. To Harmony Prime, where the galaxy's most powerful civilizations decided the fate of trade routes, territorial claims, and new memberships. Ambassador Jake Morrison stood at the human podium, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the alien faces that surrounded him. Some looked curious. Most looked bored. A few looked actively hostile. Kate Sullivan stood 3 steps behind him, her tablet clutched tight against her chest. She had been Jake's aide for 2 years now, and she had never seen him this calm before an important vote. Usually he paced. Usually he reviewed his notes one more time. Today he just stood there, almost relaxed, and that worried her more than anything else. The human petition for admission to the Inner Systems Trade Coalition will now be heard. High Arbiter Zin announced from the central platform. The Arbiter's species had no name humans could pronounce, so everyone just called them the Guardians. Zin had served on the council for 60 years, longer than most humans lived. His blue skin seemed to glow in the chamber's light. Jake stepped forward. Honored counselors, Earth formally requests admission to the Inner Systems Trade Coalition. We have met all technical requirements. Our ships are faster than light capable. Our economy is stable. Our people are ready to contribute to galactic prosperity. A laugh echoed through the chamber. It came from the Kalroth section, where Counselor Vextar sat on his elevated throne. The Kalroth looked like enormous lizards, but calling them that to their faces usually ended badly. Vextar was particularly large, his scales a deep red that supposedly indicated royal blood. Contribute? Vextar's voice boomed across the chamber. You achieved faster than light travel 5 years ago. 5 years. My people have been exploring the stars for 3,000 years. What could you possibly contribute? Other counselors began murmuring. Some nodded in agreement. Kate saw Jake's jaw tighten just slightly, but his expression remained neutral. We offer unique perspectives on conflict resolution, Jake said. Our medical technology has applications your species might find valuable. Our manufacturing techniques. Manufacturing techniques? Another counselor interrupted. This one belonged to the Zenthi Collective, a species that looked like floating jellyfish contained in mechanical suits. We have automated systems that have been producing goods since before your planet had written language. You have nothing we need. Jake opened his mouth to respond, but Vextar cut him off again. Let us be honest about what this really is, the Kalroth leader said, rising from his throne. He was easily 3 meters tall, towering over the other representatives. Humanity wants access to our markets because your economy is weak. You want our technology because yours is primitive. You want protection because your military is laughable. Our military capabilities are sufficient for our defense. Jake replied quietly. Vextar laughed again, and this time, several other counselors joined him. Sufficient? The Kalroth Empire maintains 6,000 warships in active service. How many does Earth have, Ambassador Morrison? 200? 300? Our exact fleet numbers are classified, Jake said. Because they are embarrassing, Vextar shot back. We have conducted intelligence assessments. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are weak. Your shield technology is generations behind the galactic standard. If the Kalroth Empire decided to eliminate Earth tomorrow, your entire species would be extinct by the weekend. Kate felt her blood run cold. That was not just rejection. That was a threat. She looked at Jake, expecting anger, expecting him to demand an apology. Instead, he smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but it was there. Is that a threat, counselor? Jake asked. It is a statement of fact, Vextar replied. You are insects pretending to be equals. You have no place among the civilized species of this galaxy. High Arbiter Zin raised one hand. Counselor Vextar, this language is inappropriate for these chambers. But true, another voice called out. Kate could not see who spoke, but several counselors voiced agreement. Zin looked uncomfortable, his blue skin darkening slightly. Nevertheless, we will proceed to the vote. All in favor of granting Earth admission to the Inner Systems Trade Coalition. 3 hands rose. Out of 47 counselors, only 3 voted yes. Kate felt sick. All opposed? 41 hands rose. 3 counselors abstained, including High Arbiter Zin himself. The petition is denied, Zin announced. He would not meet Jake's eyes. Jake stood silent for a moment. The chamber buzzed with conversation, most of it dismissive of humanity. Kate heard someone call Earth the monkey planet. She heard another counselor say humans should be grateful they were allowed to attend council meetings at all. Ambassador Morrison, Vextar called out. Perhaps in another century, when your species has matured, you may try again. Until then, stay in your corner of the galaxy. Do not trouble us with your presence. Jake's smile grew just a fraction wider. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his personal communicator, a small device no bigger than his palm. His fingers moved across it quickly, typing something Kate could not see. She knew that device was encrypted with Earth's highest-level security protocols. Whatever he was sending, it was important. Is something amusing, Ambassador? Vextar asked. Noticing the smile, Jake looked up at the Kalroth leader. For a long moment, he said nothing. The chamber fell quiet, everyone waiting for the human's response to his humiliation. I was just thinking, Jake said slowly, that patience is a virtue. My species learned long ago. We know how to wait. We know how to watch. And we know how to remember. Is that supposed to frighten me? Vextar asked. No, Jake replied. It is supposed to inform you. He turned to leave, gesturing for Kate to follow. She hurried after him, confused by his calm demeanor. They walked through the long corridor leading away from the council chamber, their footsteps echoing off the metal floors. Ambassador, Kate whispered once they were out of earshot. That was a disaster. Vextar threatened to destroy Earth. We need to file a formal complaint with the Arbiter's office. We need to return to our quarters and pack, Jake interrupted. We are leaving Harmony Prime within the hour. But sir, Kate. He stopped walking and turned to face her. His eyes were hard now, all traces of that smile gone. Do you trust me? Of course, but then trust me now. What happened in that chamber was not a disaster. It was confirmation. Confirmation of what? Jake glanced around the corridor, making sure they were alone. Confirmation that the Council sees us exactly the way we wanted them to see us. Weak. Primitive. Harmless. Kate stared at him. I don't understand. You will, Jake said. He started walking again. By tomorrow morning, everyone will understand. The entire galaxy is about to learn something very important about humanity. What? Kate asked, running to keep up with him. Jake did not answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft but certain. They are about to learn what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. He pulled out his communicator again and glanced at the screen. A single word glowed there in green text. Authorized. Jake put the device away and kept walking, leaving Kate to wonder what exactly she had just witnessed. Behind them, in the council chamber, the representatives continued their meeting, completely unaware that they had just made the worst mistake of their civilization's long histories. The countdown had begun, though none of them knew it yet. In less than 12 hours, the galaxy would wake to a new reality, one where humanity was no longer the joke at the council table. Jake Morrison allowed himself one final smile as he thought about the morning briefings those counselors would receive. They had laughed at Earth. Tomorrow, they would learn to respect it. Admiral Ryan Cole stood in the command center deep beneath Earth's surface, watching the data streams flow across the main display. The room hummed with activity as dozens of officers monitored communications from every corner of human space. On the screen before him, a map of the galaxy glowed with thousands of markers, each one representing a ship, a station, or a strategic point of interest. His communicator buzzed. Ryan glanced at the screen and saw the single word he had been waiting for. Authorized. All stations, this is Cole, he said into his headset. Dawn's arrival is now active. Execute Phase 1 immediately. Around the room, officers straightened in their chairs. Fingers flew across keyboards. The map on the main display began to shift as hundreds of markers started moving. Sir, confirmation from all fleet commanders, Lieutenant Commander Danny Foster reported from his station. Ships are breaking stealth protocols and preparing for jump calculations. Ryan nodded. How long until we are in position? 8 hours and 14 minutes, sir. Right on schedule. Director Lisa Chen entered the command center, her shoes clicking sharply on the metal floor. She carried a tablet filled with intelligence reports, though Ryan knew she had probably memorized every word already. Lisa had been running Earth's intelligence division for 7 years, and in that time, she had built the most effective spy network in human history. The council vote went exactly as predicted, Lisa said, coming to stand beside Ryan. 41 voted against us. Vex Tar made threats. Jake played his part perfectly. And the counselors suspect nothing? Ryan asked. Nothing at all. They think we are exactly what we appear to be. Weak. New to the galaxy. Easy to dismiss. Lisa smiled coldly. They have no idea we have been watching them for the past 3 years. Ryan remembered when Earth's first real faster-than-light ship had been completed 15 years ago. Not 5 years ago, as the galaxy believed. The decision to hide humanity's true capabilities had been controversial. Many people argued that Earth should announce its strength immediately, claim its place among the powerful species. But Jake Morrison, then a young captain in the diplomatic corps, had argued differently. Let them underestimate us, Jake had said in the strategy meetings. Let them think we are children playing in a galaxy of adults. While they ignore us, we will learn everything about them. Their military positions, their trade routes, their alliances and rivalries. When the time comes to reveal ourselves, we will do so from a position of complete knowledge. The politicians had agreed, though reluctantly. For 15 years, Earth had maintained the lie. They showed the galaxy only their oldest, slowest ships. They revealed only basic technology. They played the role of newcomers learning their place. And while the galaxy dismissed them, human ships, equipped with stealth technology that made them invisible to alien sensors, had been mapping every inhabited system, every military base, every weakness in their defenses. How many ships do we have in position? Ryan asked. Lisa consulted her tablet. 417, with another 200 standing by in reserve. Every major species that voted against us will wake up to find human vessels within scanning range of their homeworlds. Not just the ones who voted against us, Ryan corrected. All of them. Even the 3 who voted for us need to understand what we are capable of. Understood. Captain Ben Harper's stealth ships have already marked the final coordinates. Navigation teams across the fleet are completing their jump calculations now. Ryan turned to look at the main display again. Somewhere out there, beyond the range of any alien sensor, hundreds of human ships were preparing to move. The galaxy thought Earth had maybe 300 vessels total. They were wrong. Humanity had been building ships in secret for over a decade, constructing them in hidden shipyards in the outer reaches of the solar system, far from prying eyes. Sir. Incoming communication from the Shadowhawk. An officer called out. Captain Harper reporting all reconnaissance complete. Put him through, Ryan ordered. Ben Harper's face appeared on a secondary screen. He looked tired, but satisfied. Admiral, I am transmitting the final data now. We have confirmed positions on every major military installation within 200 light-years of Earth. Cal Roth Home Fleet is exactly where our projections indicated. Their defensive perimeter has not changed in 6 months. They are either incredibly confident or incredibly stupid. Probably both, Ryan replied. What about the other species? Zenthi Collective maintains a strong defensive formation around their core worlds, but they have left their outer colonies vulnerable. The Draxan Republic keeps most of their ships in port for maintenance. Honestly, Admiral, if we wanted to strike first, half the galaxy would be defenseless right now. But we are not striking, Ryan said firmly. We are demonstrating. There is a difference. Understood, sir. Shadowhawk out. The screen went dark. Ryan looked at Lisa. Your people are ready? Every intelligence officer we have is monitoring alien communications. The moment they detect our ships, we will know about it. We will have complete coverage of their reactions. Good. I want to know what every counselor says when they realize human fleets appeared overnight in their territory. A new voice spoke from behind them. They will probably soil themselves. Ryan turned to see Kate Sullivan walking into the command center, followed closely by Jake Morrison. Both had just arrived from Harmony Prime aboard the fastest shuttle Earth possessed. Kate looked confused and overwhelmed. Jake looked like a man whose careful plans had finally come to fruition. Ambassador, Ryan greeted him. Welcome home, Admiral, Director. Jake nodded to both of them. I assume everything is proceeding on schedule? Like clockwork, Lisa confirmed. In 8 hours, the galaxy changes forever. Kate finally found her voice. I still do not understand what is happening. Ambassador Morrison said, we wanted the Council to see us as weak. But why? What is the point of all this? Jake gestured to the main display, where hundreds of markers represented human ships. Miss Sullivan, how many vessels do you see on that screen? Kate squinted at the display. Hundreds. Maybe 600 or 700. Try 932, Jake said. And that is just the military vessels. We have another 300 support ships, supply vessels, and mobile repair stations. Humanity has over 1,200 spacefaring vessels, all equipped with technology the galaxy thinks we do not possess. But how? I have been working in the diplomatic service for 2 years. How did I not know about this? Because very few people knew, Jake explained. This plan required absolute secrecy. If even one person on Harmony Prime had known the truth, our intelligence networks would have detected the leak. The galaxy had to believe we were weak. They had to dismiss us. They had to laugh at us. Why? Kate demanded. Because, Jake said quietly, if they had taken us seriously from the beginning, they would have moved against us. Vextar was not exaggerating when he said the Kalroth Empire could destroy Earth. If they had seen us as a threat 5 years ago, they might have tried. But we were not ready then. Now we are. Ryan gestured to the tactical display. Every ship you see on this screen can travel faster and farther than any alien vessel in known space. Our jump drives can cross 100 light-years in a single jump. Alien ships take weeks to cover the same distance. Our weapons are more accurate. Our shields are stronger. Our sensor technology is better. The only thing we lacked was positioning, and now we have it, Lisa added. While the galaxy dismissed us, we studied them. We learned their weaknesses. We mapped their defenses. And now we are going to show them the cost of underestimating humanity. Kate sank into a nearby chair, processing everything she had just heard. We deliberately made ourselves look weak so they would ignore us while we prepared to surround them. Exactly, Jake said. And tomorrow morning, when Counselor Vextar wakes up and discovers that human warships have appeared inside Kalroth territory overnight, he will understand that his threats were empty. When every counselor who laughed at us realizes we could have struck their homeworlds at any time but chose not to, they will understand that mercy is a choice, not a weakness. How long have you been planning this? Kate asked. 15 years, Jake replied. Since the day we built our first real, faster-than-light drive. We knew the galaxy would not accept us as equals based on words alone. We needed to demonstrate our strength. But we also needed to demonstrate our restraint. That is why we are not attacking. We are simply showing them where we could be, if we chose to be. Ryan checked the time display. 7 hours and 52 minutes until all ships are in position. Ambassador, you should get some rest. Tomorrow is going to be a very long day. Jake shook his head. I want to be here when it happens. I want to see the moment everything changes. As you wish. Ryan turned back to the main display. All stations. Status report. Around the room, officers began calling out confirmations. Every fleet was ready. Every ship was prepared. Every calculation was complete. Humanity's greatest demonstration of power was about to begin, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Lieutenant Commander Foster looked up from his station. "Sir, Captain Amy Rodriguez aboard the Valiant is requesting final confirmation before her fleet jumps. Tell Captain Rodriguez that she has authorization to proceed on schedule," Ryan ordered. "And remind her that she is about to make history." "Yes, sir." Ryan turned to Jake. "In 8 hours, Ambassador, you will return to Harmony Prime and face the Council again. But this time, they will not be laughing." Jake nodded slowly. "This time, they will listen." Captain Amy Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Valiant, watching the countdown timer tick toward 0. Her battleship floated in the darkness between stars, invisible to any sensor in the galaxy thanks to the stealth fields that surrounded it. Around her vessel, 43 other ships waited in perfect formation, all of them preparing for the same jump. "Status?" Amy asked, keeping her voice calm, despite the adrenaline rushing through her veins. "All systems green, Captain," Lieutenant Nicole Grant reported from the navigation station. "Jump calculations are locked in. We will emerge exactly 400,000 kilometers from the Calroth home fleet, well outside their weapons range but close enough for their sensors to detect us clearly." "Excellent work, Nicole." Amy glanced at the chronometer. 3 minutes until jump time. "Communications. Are we synchronized with the other fleets?" "Yes, ma'am. All 932 ships are ready to jump simultaneously. Commander Chris Park is coordinating from Earth Command. Every fleet will emerge at exactly the same moment." Amy nodded. That was the key to the entire operation. It was not enough to simply appear near alien territory. They had to appear everywhere at once, demonstrating that humanity's reach extended across the entire known galaxy. When the council members woke up tomorrow morning, they would all face the same reality. Human ships on their doorsteps. 2 minutes, Nicole announced. Amy thought about the last time she had been home, 3 months ago. Her daughter had asked her why humans always had to hide what they could do. Amy had told her that sometimes the smartest move was to stay quiet and learn. Now, after 15 years of staying quiet, humanity was about to speak very loudly. 1 minute. The bridge fell silent. Every officer focused on their stations. Amy had trained her crew for this moment for years, running drill after drill until every person could perform their duties perfectly. Today, all that training would prove its worth. 30 seconds. Amy straightened in her command chair. "All hands, prepare for jump. Helm, the moment we emerge, establish stable orbit and hold position. Weapons, keep all systems armed but do not lock onto any targets unless fired upon. This is a demonstration, people. We are showing strength, not seeking a fight." "Understood, Captain." 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. Amy took a deep breath. Somewhere across the galaxy, 931 other captains were counting down with her. In major star systems belonging to every species that had voted against Earth, human ships were about to appear. 3, 2, 1. Jump. Ip. Tree. The universe twisted. For a fraction of a second, reality bent in ways human minds were not meant to understand. Then, just as suddenly, everything snapped back into focus. The Valiant hung in space above a massive green and blue planet. Even from this distance, Amy could see the orbital stations and defensive platforms that surrounded the Calroth homeworld. In the distance, the Calroth home fleet floated in formation. Hundreds of massive warships arrayed in defensive patterns that had protected this system for centuries. "Jump successful," Nicole reported. "All ships in our fleet have arrived on target. No casualties. Position is exact." "Sensor readings?" Amy asked. "Multiple contacts. The Calroth fleet is right where intelligence predicted. I am reading 812 capital ships, plus numerous support vessels and defensive stations. They have not detected us yet, Captain. Their sensors are still calibrated for slower approach speeds." "Give them another moment," Amy said. "Let them wake up slowly." She pulled up the tactical display. which showed not just her own fleet but information streaming in from all the other human vessels across the galaxy. Green markers indicated successful jumps. Every fleet had emerged exactly where they were supposed to be. Not a single ship had missed its mark. Commander Park's voice came through the communication system. All fleets reporting successful deployment. Operation Dawn's arrival is complete. Stand by for Phase 2. Amy smiled. Phase 2 was simple. Make themselves visible. Drop stealth fields, she ordered. Let them see us. The invisible barrier that had kept the Valiant hidden collapsed. Suddenly, 44 human warships appeared on every sensor screen in the Calroth system. It took exactly 17 seconds for the Calroth to react. Captain, we are being hailed, the communications officer reported. Multiple sources. The Calroth Home Fleet Command is demanding to know who we are and how we got here. They sound very angry. All. I imagine they do. Do not respond yet. Let them panic a little longer. On the tactical display, Amy watched the Calroth fleet scramble into a defensive formation. Ships that had been drifting in lazy orbits suddenly fired their engines, rushing to form a barrier between the human vessels and the planet below. Alarm signals flashed across every Calroth military channel. Captain, they are powering weapons, the tactical officer warned. Hold position, Amy ordered. Do not move. Do not target their ships. Let them see that we are not here to attack. It was a calculated risk. If the Calroth opened fire, Amy would have to respond. But she trusted her intelligence reports. The Calroth were aggressive, but they were not stupid. They would want to understand what was happening before they started a war. Minutes passed. The Calroth fleet maintained their defensive position. More ships launched from the orbital stations, scrambling to reinforce the home fleet. Amy counted over 1,000 vessels now arrayed against her much smaller force. Still no hostile action, the tactical officer reported. They are definitely confused. I am picking up encrypted communications between their fleet commander and someone on the surface. Probably Counselor Vextar himself. Amy could imagine that conversation. The counselor who had threatened to destroy Earth over a weekend was now staring at human ships that had appeared inside his empire's defenses overnight. He would be wondering how it was possible. He would be wondering what else humans could do. Communications. Send the prepared message on all frequencies, Amy ordered. Yes, ma'am. The message was simple. Just 10 words. But those 10 words would echo across the entire galaxy. Every human fleet was broadcasting the same message at the same moment. Humanity sees you. We have always seen you. Amy watched the tactical display as similar scenes played out in dozens of other star systems. Human fleets had appeared near the homeworlds of the Zenthi Collective, the Draxan Republic, the Vortex Assembly, and every other species that had voted against Earth. Even the 3 species that had voted in favor of human admission found human ships positioned near their borders, though at more respectful distances. Captain, incoming response from Calroth Fleet Command, the communications officer said. They demand immediate withdrawal from Calroth space. Tell them we are in neutral space, 400,000 kilometers outside their territorial boundary. We have violated no laws. There was a pause as the message was sent. Then the communications officer looked up, surprised. They are checking the charts, Captain. They are confirming that we are technically in neutral space. Just barely. But we are legal. Because Lieutenant Grant knows her job, Amy said, nodding to Nicole. Positioning had to be precise. Close enough to be intimidating, far enough to avoid giving them legal justification for attack. The tactical display continued to update as reports came in from across the galaxy. Not a single shot had been fired. Every human fleet had emerged in neutral space, positioned perfectly to demonstrate capability without providing cause for war. Captain Rodriguez, this is Commander Park, the voice came through from Earth. Congratulations on a flawless deployment. How are the Calroth responding? Lots of posturing, Commander, but no weapons fire. They are confused and angry, but they are thinking before acting. That is what we wanted. Affirmative. Maintain your position. Ambassador Morrison will be returning to Harmony Prime in 4 hours for the emergency council session. By then, Every counselor will know that human ships have appeared across the galaxy overnight. Understood, Commander. Valiant out. Amy looked around her bridge. Her crew had performed perfectly. Every calculation had been exact. Every system had functioned as designed. Humanity had just pulled off the largest coordinated military maneuver in galactic history, and they had done it without firing a single shot. Captain, I am detecting jump signatures, Nicole reported suddenly. Multiple vessels entering the system. They are not human, Amy tensed. Identify them. Signatures match Zenthi collective vessels. 6 ships. All diplomatic class. They are broadcasting peace signals. Interesting. The Zenthi had their own problems right now, with human ships positioned near their territory. Why send diplomats to Calroth space? Are they hailing us? Amy asked. Negative, Captain. They are heading for the Calroth fleet. I think they want to talk to Vextar. Amy understood. The species of the galaxy were already beginning to communicate with each other, trying to understand what humanity had just done. They would be comparing notes, sharing sensor data, attempting to figure out how human ships had covered such vast distances so quickly, and they would be very, very worried. Captain, more jump signatures. Draxon Republic this time. 3 ships. Also diplomatic class. The dominoes were falling. Within hours, every major species in the galaxy would be holding emergency meetings. Trade routes would be suspended as governments tried to understand the new threat, or perhaps the new power. Amy suspected that some species, the ones who had remained neutral in the council vote, were already preparing to offer alliances. Maintain position, Amy ordered. We stay here for 30 days, as planned. Let them look at us. Let them understand what we could do if we chose to. And let them understand that we are choosing not to. Yes, ma'am. Amy settled back in her command chair. The hardest part was over. The fleets had deployed successfully. Now came the waiting game. For 30 days, human ships would maintain their positions across the galaxy. Not attacking, not retreating, just watching. And the galaxy would learn what humanity had always known. Patience was not weakness. Silence was not absence. And mercy was the rarest form of strength. The countdown had begun. Counselor Vextar had not slept. How could he sleep when human warships floated less than 500,000 kilometers from his homeworld? He had spent the entire night in emergency meetings with his military commanders, demanding answers no one could provide. How had the humans gotten there? How had they moved so quickly? How had they known exactly where to position themselves? Now he stood in the council chamber on Harmony Prime, watching the other representatives file in. All of them looked tired. All of them looked worried. The emergency session had been called within hours of the human fleet appearances, and every species had sent their counselors scrambling back to the station. High Arbiter Zinn called the meeting to order, his blue skin somehow paler than usual. This emergency session is now open. We have a situation that requires immediate attention. Human military vessels have appeared simultaneously near the territories of 34 member species. Ambassador Morrison has requested the opportunity to address this council. I have granted that request. Vextar wanted to object, but he held his tongue. Let the human explain himself. Then they would vote on a unified military response. Jake Morrison entered the chamber, walking with the same calm confidence he had shown yesterday, when the council had rejected Earth's petition. But something was different now. Yesterday, the human had seemed like a minor annoyance. Today, he walked like a man who held all the cards. Kate Sullivan followed behind him, carrying a data tablet. She looked more confident too, Vextar noticed. She no longer seemed like a nervous aide. She seemed like someone who knew a secret the rest of the galaxy did not. Counselors, Jake began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. I understand. You have concerns about the positioning of human vessels near your territories. I am here to address those concerns and explain our intentions. Explain? Vextar could not contain himself. You surrounded our worlds overnight. This is an act of war. No, Jake replied simply. It is an act of demonstration. If we wanted war, Counselor, you would already be at war. Our ships are positioned in neutral space. We have violated no laws. We have fired no weapons. We have made no demands. You have placed military vessels within striking distance of our homeworlds, another counselor called out. It was the representative from the Zenthi Collective. That is a threat, even if you do not fire. Is it? Jake asked. Yesterday, Counselor Vex Tar threatened to eliminate Earth within a weekend. He said the Kalroth Empire could destroy my entire species. Was that not also a threat? Vextar felt his scales flush darker. That was a statement of fact, not a threat. Then allow me to state a fact of my own, Jake said. Humanity has possessed the capability to position vessels near your territories for the past 3 years. We could have done this at any time. We chose not to. Even now, when our ships are positioned across the galaxy, we have maintained strict rules of engagement. No targeting, no weapons lock, no aggressive maneuvers. We are demonstrating capability, not intent. How? The question came from a smaller counselor, one of the species that had voted in favor of Earth. Our best intelligence indicated your faster-than-light technology was primitive. Your ships were supposed to be slow. How did you cross such vast distances overnight? Jake smiled. You asked me yesterday what humanity could contribute to the galactic community. Here is your answer. We have technology you assumed we did not possess. We have capabilities you thought were beyond us. We have resources you did not bother to investigate because you were too busy laughing at us. Admiral Ryan Cole appeared on a holographic display that materialized in the center of the chamber. His uniform bore more medals than Vextar had seen on any human before. This was clearly a commander of significant rank. Counselors, Ryan began. I am Admiral Ryan Cole, commander of Earth's Defense Fleet. I am here to provide you with accurate information about human military capabilities, information that your intelligence services apparently failed to gather. A murmur ran through the council. Several counselors leaned forward, suddenly very interested. Earth's first functional faster-than-light drive was completed 15 years ago, not 5 years ago as you believe. Since that time, we have been conducting extensive surveys of this region of the galaxy, mapping systems, studying civilizations, and developing our technology. What you saw yesterday was humanity revealing ourselves as we actually are, not as we chose to appear. Impossible, Vextar said. We would have detected your ships. We would have known. You did not detect them because our stealth technology is several generations ahead of your sensor capabilities, Ryan replied. Captain Ben Harper, please provide demonstration footage. Another screen appeared, showing what looked like empty space. Then, text appeared on the screen indicating that a human vessel was present in the image. The display zoomed in, enhanced, and finally, after multiple layers of processing, a faint outline of a ship became barely visible. This is footage from one of our stealth reconnaissance vessels operating near Kalroth space 6 months ago, Ryan explained. Your sensors passed right over it, without detecting anything. Captain Harper's ship spent 3 weeks mapping your defensive positions, recording your patrol routes, and cataloging your military assets. You never knew it was there. Vextar felt cold. If humans had been watching the Kalroth Empire for months, maybe years, then everything he thought he knew was wrong. Another voice spoke up, and Vextar recognized Director Lisa Chen, the head of Earth's Intelligence Division. She appeared on yet another holographic display. Counselors, we have been monitoring your communications for 3 years, Lisa said without preamble. We know about your military plans. We know about your territorial ambitions. We know about your private assessments of human capabilities. We know everything. She gestured, and data began scrolling across the screens. Vextar saw classified Kalroth military documents. He saw internal memos from the Zenthi Collective. He saw private communications between counselors discussing how to handle the human problem. This is a violation of galactic law, someone shouted. Is it? Lisa asked. We monitored public broadcasts and unencrypted channels. If your communications were not secure, that is not our problem. We simply listened to what you chose to broadcast into open space. Jake stepped forward again. Let me be very clear about something. Earth does not want war. We never wanted war. What we wanted was respect. What we wanted was to be treated as equals. Yesterday, this council denied us that respect. Councillor Vextar threatened to eliminate my species. Others of you laughed at our capabilities. All of you dismissed us as insignificant. Quote. He paused, letting his words sink in. So we decided to educate you. Every ship positioned across the galaxy right now carries weapons that can strike targets with pinpoint accuracy from extreme range. Our shields can withstand sustained fire from any known weapon system. Our ships can travel farther and faster than any vessel in this council's combined fleets. We could have used these capabilities to conquer. Instead, we are using them to demonstrate. Demonstrate what? High Arbiter Zin asked quietly. That mercy is a choice, Jake replied. That patience is not weakness. That humanity chooses cooperation over domination. We could have struck your homeworlds. We could have destroyed your fleets. We could have done to you what Councillor Vextar threatened to do to Earth. But we did not. Because that is not who we are. Jake pulled out his communicator and held it up for everyone to see. 3 years ago, when we first achieved the capability to do what you see now, our government held extensive debates about how to proceed. Some argued we should reveal ourselves immediately. Others argued we should strike first. Eliminate potential threats before they could organize against us. Do you know why we chose neither of those options? The chamber was silent. Because humanity believes in the principle of proportional response. You threatened us with words, so we responded with positioning. You dismissed our capabilities, so we revealed them. You treated us as children, so we demonstrated maturity. At every step, we chose the path that caused the least harm while achieving our objectives. Your objectives being what? Vextar demanded. Respect, Jake said simply. Recognition. The understanding that Earth is not a minor power to be dismissed and threatened. We are here. We are capable. And we demand to be treated as equals. Security Chief Laura Martinez appeared on another display. She was younger than the other human officers but somehow more intimidating. Counselors. My team has compiled comprehensive assessments of every civilization represented in this chamber. We know your strengths. We know your weaknesses. We know which of you plan to move against Earth if you thought you could do so without consequences, and we have shared none of this information with anyone because we respect the principle of diplomatic confidentiality. Laura pulled up a file on her screen. Vextar recognized it immediately. It was the Calroth Strategic Plan for Dealing with Emerging Species, a classified document that outlined how the Empire would respond if humanity became a threat. How did she have access to that? We could have leaked all of this information, Laura continued. We could have exposed your secrets, turned you against each other, destabilized your governments, but we chose not to, because humanity is interested in building a peaceful galactic community, not in playing power games. Jake nodded. However, let me be equally clear about something else. This demonstration of restraint should not be mistaken for weakness. Our ships will remain positioned where they are for 30 days. During that time, we will not move unless attacked. But if any species chooses to test our capabilities, they will learn very quickly that we can defend ourselves effectively. He turned to look directly at Vexistar. Counselor, yesterday you said the Calroth Empire could eliminate Earth in a weekend. I will not make the same threat in return. I will simply state this fact. If you attack humanity, you will lose. Not because we are stronger, though we might be, but because we are smarter, more prepared, and more committed to our survival than you are to our destruction. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some counselors demanded immediate military action. Others called for negotiations. A few of the wiser ones simply sat in silence, processing what they had just learned. High Arbiter Zin raised his hand, calling for order. It took several minutes for the chamber to quiet down. Ambassador Morrison, Zin said carefully. What are Earth's terms? We have no terms, Jake replied. We are not here to make demands. We are simply here to correct a misunderstanding. Yesterday, this council treated humanity as an insignificant species, unworthy of respect. Today, you know better. Tomorrow, we will discuss how to move forward as equals. The council chamber felt different now. Jake Morrison stood at the human podium once again, but this time, no one was laughing. No one was dismissing him. Every counselor in the room watched him with a mix of fear, respect, and calculation. The galaxy had changed overnight, and they were all trying to figure out what it meant for their species. High Arbiter Zinn had called another session after giving the counselors 6 hours to digest everything they had learned. 6 hours for them to contact their governments, their military commanders, their intelligence services. 6 hours for them to confirm that yes, human ships really were positioned across the galaxy. Yes, humanity really did possess technology far beyond what anyone had suspected. And yes, Earth really could have struck first but had chosen not to. This session is now open, Zinn announced. Ambassador Morrison, you indicated yesterday that Earth wishes to propose terms. The Council is ready to hear them. Jake nodded. Thank you, High Arbiter. Earth's position is straightforward. We do not demand territory. We do not demand reparations. We do not demand apologies for yesterday's treatment, though we note that several counselors made threats that could be considered acts of aggression under galactic law. He let that statement hang in the air for a moment. Vextar shifted uncomfortably in his seat but said nothing. What we demand is simple. Respect. Recognition that Earth is a sovereign power, with capabilities equal to or exceeding those of the established galactic civilizations. Fair treatment in all diplomatic and trade negotiations. And most importantly, the understanding that humanity's patience and restraint are choices, not weaknesses. What about your fleet positions? A counselor asked. It was the representative from the Draxan Republic, one of the species that had voted against Earth. Will you withdraw your ships? In 30 days, our vessels will return to human space. Jake confirmed. This was always meant to be a temporary demonstration, not a permanent deployment. However, let me be clear, just because our ships withdraw does not mean we cannot return them to these positions if necessary. What we did once, we can do again. The galaxy should remember that. That sounds like a threat, someone muttered. It is a statement of capability, Jake corrected. In the same way that Counselor Vextar's comment yesterday about eliminating Earth in a weekend was supposedly a statement of capability. The difference is that we have proven our capabilities, we have demonstrated them, and we have chosen not to use them aggressively. Kate Sullivan stepped forward, carrying her tablet. Jake had briefed her thoroughly during the 6-hour break, and now she was ready to play her part in this final act. The Inner Systems Trade Coalition vote will be held again, Kate announced. Earth requests that the vote be conducted with accurate information about our capabilities, not based on outdated intelligence and incorrect assumptions. And if we vote the same way? Vextar asked. He sounded less confident than yesterday, but he was still trying to maintain some dignity. Jake looked directly at the Kalroth counselor. Then you vote the same way, and Earth will continue to operate independently. We do not need the trade coalition to survive. We have our own resources, our own trade partners, our own alliances. The question is whether the coalition needs us. Whether the established powers of this galaxy want to include humanity as a partner or force us to become a rival. Admiral Ryan Cole appeared on the holographic display again. Counselors, Earth currently maintains active trade relationships with 12 independent species not represented in this council. Our merchant fleet carries goods worth billions of credits annually. Our technology, which you all now know is more advanced than previously believed, has applications in medicine, manufacturing, energy production, and agriculture. Species that choose to work with us will benefit. Species that choose to oppose us will simply miss out. It was a gentle threat wrapped in an economic argument. Jake had learned over his years in diplomacy that most conflicts could be resolved if you gave people a financial incentive to cooperate. Fear might bring them to the negotiating table, but profit would keep them there. I have a question, High Arbiter Zin said. Ambassador Morrison, why did you hide your true capabilities for so long? Why not announce yourselves honestly from the beginning? Jake considered the question carefully. Because, High Arbiter, we were not ready. 15 years ago, when we achieved faster-than-light travel, Earth was still unified under a single government. We had no experience with galactic politics. We had no understanding of the power structures that existed beyond our solar system. We needed time to learn, to grow, to prepare ourselves for the reality of a galaxy filled with older, more established civilizations. He gestured around the chamber. If we had announced our true capabilities from the beginning, what would have happened? Would you have welcomed us as equals? Or would you have seen us as a threat? Would species like the Kalroth Empire have moved against us while we were still learning how to defend ourselves? Zin's expression suggested he understood the logic. In the galaxy's political landscape, new powers were often crushed before they could become established. By appearing weak, Earth had bought itself time to develop the strength necessary to survive. So you lied to us, Vextar said. We allowed you to make assumptions, Jake corrected. We never claimed our technology was primitive. You assumed it was. We never said our fleet was small. You counted only the ships we chose to show you. Your intelligence services failed to gather accurate information, and your counselors based their decisions on incomplete data. That is not our fault. Michelle Davis entered the chamber, introduced as Earth's new diplomatic liaison. She was an experienced negotiator who had spent years working on Earth, and now she would be handling the more detailed trade discussions. Counselors, Michelle began. Earth is prepared to offer preliminary trade agreements to any species interested in cooperation. Our scientists have developed medical treatments that may be of interest. Our engineers have designed more efficient power generation systems. Our agricultural techniques produce higher yields with fewer resources. We are ready to share these innovations with species willing to treat us fairly. It was a carrot to go with the stick of military demonstration. Jake watched as several counselors leaned together, whispering to each other. He could almost see the calculations happening in their minds. The fear was still there, but now it was being balanced against potential profit. Let us vote, Zin announced. Once again, we will consider Earth's petition for admission to the Inner Systems Trade Coalition. All those in favor? Hands rose across the chamber. Jake counted quickly. 28. Then 30. Then 35. When the count stopped, 43 counselors had voted in favor of Earth's admission. All opposed? 4 hands rose. Vextar was one of them, stubborn to the end. But the Kalroth counselor looked isolated now, surrounded by species who had chosen cooperation over confrontation. The petition is approved, Zin announced. Earth is now a full member of the Inner Systems Trade Coalition, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. The chamber buzzed with conversation. Jake allowed himself a small smile. It had taken 15 years, countless hours of planning, and a massive demonstration of military power. But humanity had finally achieved its goal. Vextar stood, his large frame casting a shadow across the council floor. I protest this decision. Earth has threatened this council with military force. They have violated the spirit of our laws, if not the letter. They have done exactly what the Kalroth Empire did 300 years ago, Zin interrupted. The High Arbiter's voice was firm. When your species first joined this council, Counselor, you positioned your fleets near the territories of established powers to demonstrate your strength. You demanded respect through a show of force. Earth has done the same. The only difference is that they did it more efficiently and with greater restraint. Vextar opened his mouth to respond, then closed it again. He sat down, defeated. Zin turned to Jake. Ambassador Morrison, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I apologize for yesterday's treatment. Your delegation was subjected to disrespect and threats that should never occur in these chambers. I hope that Earth can forgive this council's poor judgment. There is nothing to forgive, High Arbiter. Jake replied. Yesterday was a test, and both sides learned valuable lessons from it. The galaxy learned that humanity is not to be underestimated, and humanity learned which species can be trusted as allies and which cannot. Over the next several hours, Jake and Michelle met with various counselors individually. The three species that had voted in favor of Earth from the beginning were eager to strengthen their relationships. Several species that had voted against Earth yesterday now offered apologies and requested trade discussions. Even some of Vextar's allies approached with tentative proposals for cooperation. By the time Jake returned to his quarters that evening, Earth had secured 7 new trade agreements, 4 defensive cooperation pacts, and countless opportunities for future collaboration. Kate found him sitting on the balcony, looking out at the stars. "We did it," she said quietly. "Everything you planned for 15 years. It all worked." "It worked because we had patience," Jake replied. "Because we took the time to do things right. Because we chose to demonstrate strength without seeking conquest. What happens now? Now we become part of the galactic community. Not as newcomers begging for acceptance, but as equals demanding respect. Our ships will return to Earth space in 30 days, as promised. But the galaxy will never forget that we could return them at any time." "Do you think they will test us?" Kate asked. Jake shook his head. "Some might try. But most will remember yesterday. They will remember waking up to find human ships positioned across the galaxy. They will remember that we could have struck but chose not to, and they will treat us accordingly." Far above the station, Captain Amy Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the Valiant as diplomatic vessels began arriving at Harmony Prime. Species that had been suspicious of Earth just yesterday were now sending their best negotiators to arrange meetings with human representatives. The galaxy was adapting to its new reality. "Navigation, calculate jump coordinates for Earth," Amy ordered. "We have 29 more days on station, but I want to be ready to go home when the time comes." "Yes, ma'am," Nicole replied. "It will be good to see home again." Amy nodded. It would be good to go home. To see her daughter and tell her that yes, humanity had finally shown the galaxy what they could do. And yes, they had done it the right way. With strength, with restraint, and with the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Across the galaxy, in history classes on 100 different worlds, teachers would eventually discuss what happened during those 2 days. They would call it the Night of Human Stars, or the Dawn Arrival, or the Great Demonstration. They would analyze the strategy, debate the ethics, discuss the implications, but the lesson would always be the same. Never mistake patience for weakness. Never assume silence means absence. And never, ever underestimate a species that chooses mercy when it could choose destruction. The galaxy had learned that lesson, and it would not forget.